Alright, we're continuing on with the bike today. We need to install that diode. The one we ended the last video off, which that's going to be installed today. Hopefully we'll flip the bike around and we'll get working on the rear light and indicators. I know we keep saying that every video, at the end of every video. Oh, we'll be working on the end of the bike next week. That seems to never come, but hopefully this weekend we'll get to it. And then, not this video, maybe the next video, we'll drop the oil out of the bike, put in all fresh oil. Tank will be reinstalled. We need to set the timing as well, and then yeah, the bike should be good to go. So maybe another episode or two, and then we'll have a running working bike. So yeah.
Today's school lesson is again about these diodes. These form a part of an electronics configuration called a logic gate. It's an OR gate, and what it does is it allows current or voltage to pass up through this diode this way and out this way, but it won't allow it to come back down the other way, and the same from this one here. And the reason it's called an OR gate is because it will allow electricity from this side to flow straight through, or this side, or both sides. Now, if we didn't put this in the circuit between our clock lights, what happens is when the high beam is on, if this is just ordinary wiring, we'll take these two little black dots out, the electricity would travel up here and out to the clock lights. It would also travel this way down to the high beam bulb and ignite the high beam bulb. And the same, if you put power on the high beam bulb, it would go to the clock lights, but it would also come back down this way and ignite the low beam bulb. So this way, when power comes up this way, it'll allow it to travel up here into the lights, into the clock lights, but it won't allow it to go back down into the low beam or high beam bulb, whichever side it's on. So it's an OR gate. Voltage from this side or this side through here. Just foil this down to bare metal, just so we can get a good solder connection on it. And once we do that, we'll just solder the diodes onto these two. You know, I was watching this program on YouTube. There's an American guy, and he was trying to work out he was an American bike builder. He's trying to work out the current that his bulb was taking on high beam and low beam, because he wanted to go to an LED conversion, because it was an old bike like this. Yeah. And for some reason, he thought that the top connection here was the earth.
Okay.
And I was looking at his calculations, and he was only getting like 4 amps or something, and I was going, that's not right.
Yeah.
It should be kind of like 5 amps or 5.5 amps. It did switch. He did get two different. So I don't know if the American bulbs are wired differently. Because I had a look at some of the Ford wiring diagrams for the old Fords, going back to the 60s and 70s, and they seem to have an earth up here. So maybe there's two conventions, one for either side of the Atlantic. I don't know. But definitely our blue and red stripe goes up here, and our blue and white stripe goes in there.
Alright, so this is what it looks like, all connected up. So I'll just put the heat shrink down over this. I have this connected back up now, so it looks all nice. This is all heat shrunk and protected. Just have to put a bit of heat shrink here, then we'll plug the lamp back in and make sure everything is working. Bit of a side press going on.
That's what I call a perfectly straight cut.
Bob Gatty would be proud. Okay, so I have everything wired up now. So this is the front of the bike completely finished. Fingers crossed. So yeah, that little logic gate's wired up. So when I turn the ignition on, It's already on now. So low beam, it's working, and you can see here. And now when I switch to high beam, this stays on. Your little idiot light comes on to let you know you've your high beam's on, and then we have a high beam. We've turned the bike around, as you can see, people.
Yeah. The wiring loom from the front of the bike obviously comes down towards the middle of the bike here, where it all distributes to various different areas. We're going to cut this wiring out and put all fresh wiring in. We've got these wires coming up from the alternator into the power box, the regulator here. So we're going to replace those. We're going to braid all of this up next week. We're going to run a fresh wire down to the stop and tail light. And we're also going to incorporate the wiring to the brake light switch here, which will be fresh wiring as well. So we run the feed back from the brake light to the switch and then earth it somewhere here locally. We have to run a fresh feed, switched feed, to the power box, the rectifier regulator, which we shall do as well from this blue wire, which we've already allowed in the loom, the new loom. So yeah, we're getting there. I think next week should be a lot closer to actually finishing the project.